At SCG Con in Indianapolis, we interviewed William, a player from Kentucky piloting a Five-Color Zoo deck that focuses on the domain and cascade mechanics. Let's see what this deck is about.
They show up and they're like, oh, what's going on here? A bunch of people are gathered in a room watching a couple of people play with cardboard, you know?
I think it's a lot of fun getting to meet the people in person, play a bunch of events.
Never touched this deck ever.
I would just break it down with the gameplay. The gameplay's fun.
We're back, baby. What I like most about playing Modern is it's just that you have a lot more decks to really play around with, test with, even sometimes make variations of, so it really has a diverse effect. At first I was kind of concerned that it wouldn't be a fun format. I have till turn 1, 2, or 3 to do my whole strategy or the deck is not viable, but when I actually got to playing it more, it's a little bit more in depth than that. My name is William Harmanson, and the deck I'm playing today is Domain Zoo, the Cascade version, over the more creature-built version. I'm playing today in the Modern 10K, SCG Modern 10K tournament. So it's built around domain, which certain creatures become more powerful based on if you have each land type. And so when you have the shock lands that are dual land types, like Temple Garden is forest plains, and then you have the triomes, like Xander's Lounge, theoretically I can, by turn 2, I can have out all 5 of my colors. Then it goes into you can look up cards like Territorial Kavu or Scion of Draco, which Territorial Kavu, it's an XX where its power and toughness equal to the how many land types you have. So turn 2, I can play it as a 5/5. Sometimes can be a handful. I mean, if they shock themselves twice and do 1 fetch, a couple turns, they're dead if I can hold their strategies at bay. Now, the mana base is the trickiest part. So currently, I'm only playing 2 triomes. One being Indatha Triome, the green, black, white, and then the Xander's Lounge, black, blue, red. And a tweak that I did in my own just to kind of play around, because Blood Moon is if you're not prepared for Blood Moon, it can immediately wreck you. I do have a strong red base, but sometimes it's not tough enough to keep up with what my opponent is playing if they're casting a Blood Moon on me. So I run a basic forest and basic plains, but you do want to make sure that if you're playing Fetch Hunt, you can get your domain pairs onto the battlefield, just so that I can get Indatha Triome, Xander's Lounge, and then Temple Garden Steam Vents down for the pairings that I chose. And the basics also help when you're in that burn matchup. I can still search for, I can only lose 1 life instead of losing the full 3, so I can play around with a lot of the archetypes and be able to have sort of a control sense while my strategy is going through. So the creatures I'm running is the staples of Scion of Draco and Territorial Kavu is your biggest early game threat. And then I'm running for Cascade. I have 3 Bloodbraid Elves and 3 Shardless Agents, because just to be able to hit more of those controlling threats or the Kavu in itself. For just more consistency to be able to deal with the wide spread of the boards, I'm running 2 Furies in the main, which works well with my extra red spells I have in hand, so that I can play out my strategy and still answer a multitude of creatures being dropped at the same time. And my last creature I have is the Mantis Rider, just as a good drop, getting that damage because of Vigilance, Flying, Haste, and also a good target for Bloodbraid Elf. The non-creature spells, this is where it's looking like. This is the burn side of the package, so I'm running another namesake of the deck, being playing Domain, is Tribal Flames, sorcerer speed, but still just a tap for 2 red to deal 5 damage. The rest of it includes 4 Lightning Helix, Lightning Bolts, amazing versatility, I'm also running now 4 Leyline Bindings, one of the newer cards that came out, but it helps with the domain, so I can pretty much exile any non-land permanent for as long as it remains into the battlefield. And my last card I have, a surprise, is actually Ob Nixilis, the Adversary, which I run as a 2 of in main. Me and my friend were looking it over and we were saying, well, it's just a card I'm just trying out, like messing with my opponent's hand, generating 2 Ob Nixilises, having that +1 either go twice, so they have to decide whether to pay the 2 life, to lose the 2 life, or to discard a card. Pretty good addition just to fit out in the deck. I'm prepared for any artifact enchantment based strategies, so like Hammer Time, like all those, and then I mean even Amulet Titan runs a lot of early game like artifacts, enchantments. Graveyard strategies I'm prepared for with 2 Rest in Peace. Expecting the Infect to come up a little bit, so I was trying out the new Melira, my only new card from the set, just against Infect strategies. Only take 1 poison counter per turn. Teferi is also to stop. I mean, it actually works in the mirror because it stops cascading effects. My sideboard has 0 and has nothing to do with burn. And I don't even run an additional like life gain measure just because that's where I allow my strategies. Like I know I can beat burn, and usually any creature, like a creature-based deck, I already have a heavily favorable matchup against, just because I have like the burn package I have doesn't necessarily have to go to like target my opponent, because I can use it to completely destroy their creature strategy and then let my creatures get in for the kill. Being that I love playing 5 colors and being able to play a 5-color deck is really exciting for me. The namesake card, which is built around Scion of Draco, normally it costs 12, but it costs 2 less for each land type you control. So, and as well, you can play that for 2, and then with a 4/4 flyer with an effect such as if you control a red creature, it gets first strike, a white creature gets vigilance, blue creature gets hexproof, green creature gets trample, and then black creature gets lifelink. So combine that with Territorial Kavu, and you're turn 3 you're swinging with a 5/5 first strike trample, and it's really excites me that I get to play a card that I love, 2 different sort of like abilities, domain and cascade, all in one deck.
That's all for this episode. We'd like to thank William for giving us the time to be in this video. If you'd like to know more about this deck, we have the list in the episode's description. Thank you for watching, and we hope to see you in our next video.